Hello. So we are now today learning about the percent equation. The percent equation is just a different way to solve percents. So last week you learned about how to solve through proportions when you cross multiplied and then divided. Today is just a different way of solving the same type problem. Some people find the percent equation easier. Some people find the proportions easier. Okay. So here are the things that you need to know. Your vocabulary is going to be key. So when you see the words what number, that means X or variable. Generally, we use X in algebra, but if whatever letter you choose to use is fine. So what number means X, right? Is, when you see the word is, it means equals. So you replace that word with an equal sign. Okay. Of means multiply. So I've taught you how to use the parentheses to represent multiplication, but in algebra we don't use X because we see it as a variable. So you're either going to be using a point or your parentheses. Okay. So here are some key ideas that will make more sense once I start to solve the problems to get easier. So the percent equation. So the words, and this is just this algebraic setup of the formula. So it is A is P percent of W. So that is kind of how it's going to be worded. So you write an equation. Equation includes equal signs. That's the difference. So when you look down here, this is an equation. Why? Because it is an equal sign in the middle of these two things. Okay, so here is your actual, these words are now put into a formula. A is the part. So you know in a fraction you have a numerator and a denominator. So the numerator is on top, that's the part. The denominator is on the bottom, that's the whole, that's the total. So when you see A, that's going to represent the part. That is going to be your numerator. When you see P, that's a percent. So percents, you cannot work in percents. You can't do any mathematical operation with a percent. So you either have to turn that percent into a fraction or a decimal. And we've been working since the beginning of the year how to change your percents into decimals. So I would recommend you go the decimal way. And so then now when you see that point, you know it means multiply. I use parentheses instead. And then the W is the whole, so that's the denominator. Again, this will make more sense once we actually do the math. So I'm going to get rid of that, and we're going to do 3 problems, okay? So you can always follow back to your vocab. It's going to be very helpful. So I'm giving this problem, what number is 24% of 50, that I'm now going to write as a mathematical equation. So what number, use X as my variable, is means equal. I want to change this 24% into a decimal. So the 24 is, when you don't see a decimal point, it's going to fall behind that number, and you're going to move it 2 places to the left. So in front of the decimal point goes in front of the 4, and then it goes in front of the 2. So therefore, it's going to be 0.24. And so that's 24 hundredths. Okay, there you go. Then of is the beginning of your multiply, because of means multiply. You're going to put that 50 inside of here, and then you're going to close it out. Now, you're going to look at it and you're going to see. The goal is to get X on the side by itself. So X is already on the side by itself. There's nothing attached to it. So all I really have to do is multiply this out. And so I'm going to write from left to right. X equals, and in my calculator, which I want to show you here, I just want to go ahead and make sure I clear this out. All right, so now I'm just going to put in, just how I look, 0.24 parentheses, and I'm going to put in my 50. Okay, my answer is 12. Now, say if you have a calculator that doesn't have parentheses, all you're going to do is 0.24 times 50. You're going to get the same answer. It's 12. So my answer here is 12. So what number is 24% of 50? 12. So that means when I multiply 24% by 50, I'm going to end up with 12. So X equals 12. That's all you're doing. Okay. Now, you go back to number 2. Number 2 says 9.5 is what percent of 25? So we're trying to find the percent. So, but again, left to right. Write down 9.5. That's all you're doing here. So 9.5 is means equal. What percent is going to be your X? Of is the beginning of your parentheses, because that means multiply. 25 goes inside. Close it out. Now, on this particular problem, which is different. So if you look here, x was on the side by itself. Now, x is going to have something attached to it. So the step is to multiply and then divide. Well, when I multiply a variable with a number, it's called coefficient, but when I multiply a variable with a number, I'm just going to put them together with the number in front because I can't multiply it because the x is unknown. So I'm going to write this as 9.5 equals, and I'm going to write the 25 and then x. That's all I'm doing. Now, I have to keep in mind that I am trying to get x by itself. So 25 and x is being multiplied together. The opposite, to undo any multiplication problem, I have to divide. I'm going to by using my fraction bar. So I'm going to use my fraction bar. So I'm going to divide by 25. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So I'm going to divide this by 25 as well. Okay, so then now I want to come up with my actual answer. And so when I look here, all I'm doing here, calculate again, I'm going to put the 9.5 in first because that's my numerator. So that's 9.5. I'm going to divide it by my 25. And that equals 3,800, 0.38. So I'm going to put here 0.38 equals x because there's an invisible one there. So I don't have to write it. Now, go back up to this problem. This problem asks you for what percent? Well, if you look, your answer is in a decimal point. So I got to work opposite to actually turn this decimal into a percent. So I have to still move it 2 places, but I'm moving it 2 places forward instead of backwards. So that decimal point is going to go in behind the 3, and then it's going to go behind the 8. So then my answer here really is x equals 38%. And if you notice, I wrote my x first this time. If you'd kept your x on the other side, it does not matter. It's like a seesaw. It's balanced. So I can flip it and my answer will still be the same. I can switch it and my answer will still be the same, okay? Now our last example is 39 is 52% of what number? So I'm doing a number, so I'm not going to have to turn into a percent. So then now, what's the first thing? 39 means equal. 52%, I'm changing it 2 places. So by the time you should know that now. So the decimal point is really taking the place of the percent. And then I'm moving in 2 places. So that is 52 hundredths. That of is the multiply. And then what number? I don't know it. And then I'm going to close it out. And so then now, next step, I got to write these together. So I'm going to keep my 39 here, put my equal sign, and then just write these together. So 52 hundredths. X goes to get x by itself, so it's being multiplied together. So to undo it, I'm going to divide by 0.52 on both sides. And so then I'm going to end up with calculator. And I'm going to say 39, which is my numerator, divided by 0.52. And my answer is 75. So x equals 75. Or 75 equals x, whatever. It's the same thing. Now, because that's what number, so I don't have to change anything. So that is how you do that. Your actual work, I think you've already done page 124. But if you haven't, 124, but also 127 and 128. So that is your math work for this week. All right, thank you. Bye.